Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to the GSMC Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. My name is Samantha Genzer, and I'm going to be your show host for today. We have a very exciting episode for you guys. We're going to be covering the narrative the media pushes for the Clark and Reese rivalry, U.S. Swimming Olympic Trials Day 3 and Day 4, and softball returning to the Olympics, and the AUX Series recap, the women's volleyball national teams that qualify for the Olympics, and make sure you guys stay till the end to hear about the student athletes competing in the U.S. track and field Olympic trials. Before we begin, I wanted to ask you guys to like and follow the show and to become a part of our show to tip and donate using the link gsmcpodcast.net. Also, we do get a lot of questions and comments that come from viewers during the show, so to ensure that your questions get read on the air, I ask that you use the link gsmcpodcast.net. This puts your questions at the top of the list so that I see them, and of course, it also really helps the show. Again, the link is gsmcpodcast.net. Now, let's get started. I hope you guys enjoy today's content. Okay, so we're going to be starting today's show by talking about the rivalry between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and how it has escalated recently, some updates in my opinions. The divide between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese has reached pretty much a ridiculous level. The media is the biggest perpetrators of this divide, and it seems like there's a new story with this every week. Last Sunday, the Indiana Fever beat the Chicago Sky 91-83. The game was a sellout at the Gainbridge Fieldhouse with 17,274 fans at the game, according to the WNBA's website. This is the second time Clark and Reese went head-to-head in the WNBA season so far, and just like last time, there was some fouling drama. In the last game on June 1st between the Sky and Fevrer, the Fever came out on top by 1 point, and Kennedy Carter absolutely elbowed Clark. It was not a basketball play, according to Clark, her coach, Christy Sides, and myself. It wasn't. It was completely aggressive, and it should have been a flagrant foul. And then Reese stood up and applauded for Carter for the foul, and it ended up not being upgraded to a flagrant foul after being reviewed, which I thought was ridiculous. But here's the foul that caused some controversy in the game Sunday. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. So in the third quarter of the game, Reese struck Clark in the head as she tried to block Clark's layup with her arm, resulting in the foul. And then after video review, officials upgraded Reese's foul to a flagrant 1, which means there was unnecessary contact against another player. In post-game interviews, Reese disagreed that the block had been anything other than a basketball play, and she said, going back and looking at the film, I've seen a lot of calls that weren't made. I guess some people got a special whistle. I can't control the refs. They affected the game a lot tonight, but y'all going to play that clip 20 times before Monday. Clark, for her part, seemed to agree with Reese, calling the block, quote, just another part of basketball, and telling interviews that Reese was, quote, just trying to make a play on the ball and get the block. Reese and Clark have long denied rumors that there's a personal beef between them, but their much-hyped on-course rivalry has drawn in fans since they were in college, facing off at the 2023 NCAA Women's Finals. The rivalry has often highlighted the double standards between black women face in sport. It's including racist and misogynistic commentary from sports officials and Twitter or ex-mobs alike. Earlier this month, Clark called it disappointing that online commenters were using her name to spew bigoted race criticism at fellow WNBA players. After Sunday's game, Clark chalked up the outsized attention on her and Reese's matchup to the emotion and passion they both play with, and that is a quote from her. And Clark said, and I'm quoting here also, "We're competitors, and that's the way the game should be. It's going to get a little feisty, it's going to get physical, but at the end of the day, both teams are just trying to win." Now, I watched the clip of the flagrant foul hundreds of times, and in my opinion, this looked like a typical basketball foul, not a flagrant foul. It disappointed me that it was upgraded to a flagrant foul in some way, but here's the thing. I think officials upgraded it to a flagrant foul to calm down super protective Clark fans and fans that love the drama. When Carter fouled Clark and it didn't get upgraded to a flagrant foul, so much controversy and chaos happened, but that one actually did deserve to be a flagrant foul, in my opinion. Unlike Reese's foul on Sunday, Although it is important to note that Reese did hit Clark in the head with the foul on Sunday, so it makes sense that it was upgraded to a flagrant 1 foul. Like, I get that. But considering that Carter's foul wasn't upgraded to a flagrant foul, makes me think that Reese's foul shouldn't be a flagrant foul, if that makes sense. Matt Lennart, former NFL player, commented on the foul on Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it. I keep calling it Twitter. And said, and I'm quoting, "Angel Reese should be suspended, period. Not good for the game." A lot of people replied to his comments saying that he is soft and that he shouldn't be making this basketball judgment because people who actually play basketball are saying this is basketball play. And I think he has the right to say what he thinks about this basketball play, but that's not the focus of this segment. I brought up his tweet because I think it's important to know how a lot of famous sports celebrities and influencers commented on this foul, and I disagree with him. I obviously don't think Reese should be suspended for this foul, but the fact that this former NFL commented on it shows that this is a huge news headline in the media right now, if that makes sense. Anyway, the media is pushing this narrative of Clark and Reese, and it has really started to irritate me. People in the media have said that WNBA vets and rookies should be grateful for Clark for what she has brought to the league. And yes, in some ways they should be, because she has brought new fans, but the media also says they should go easy on Clark or really bow down to her, and that is ridiculous. It's weird to me that one person in the league, Caitlin Clark, is getting all of this respect, and she deserves all this respect, don't get me wrong, but so do the other 140 players deserve to be treated. This entire issue is so indicative of misogyny and even misogynoir, and just for background context, misogynoir is basically misogyny specifically against black women. The idea that a largely black female league should express gratitude towards a white player for bringing in largely white fans, and that is just how it is factually, statistically, and demographics, who have had to get on board. It's ridiculous, it's offensive, and it's really indicative of something deeper. Now, you guys know I'm a huge fan of Caitlin Clark, but I also am a huge fan of other WNBA players, rookies, and veterans. And I want Clark to succeed, obviously, but I also want a lot of the other players in the league to succeed, like Angel Reese. Here's the thing, talent cannot translate into superstardom without marketing. Clark could have had 1,000 points in one game in Iowa, but no one would know about it if there weren't platforms that marketed it and showed it to people. So the fact that the media is acting like people owe gratitude to Caitlin Clark for finally putting this spotlight on the WNBA, it is pretty ridiculous and insane. This is a basic fact. A league cannot depend on one person for its success. So that kind of leads to the other rivalry with Angel Reese and Clark, with how Reese feels she deserves more credit and has made that very clear in interviews and in her posts on the media and such. I firmly believe Reese does deserve more credit for the increased popularity in the media. I've talked about this in videos before. There are so many people that deserve credit for the increased viewership, and Reese is indeed one of them. But because Reese has spoken about Clark in interviews and because they've had a rivalry in the past, people take everything she says and basically twist her words or assume something, or I don't know, make it something out of it when it isn't that serious, like just make it into another story basically. For instance, every single time Reese has posted something about the league that seems ever so slightly about Clark, people have escalated the situation. And to be honest, I have fallen victim to what the media tries to tell us, because when you have 1,000 articles and videos telling you one thing, you start to believe it. And I'm not justifying that I've been blindsided to other perspectives sometimes, but I realize what my issue is with that, and now I've become more aware of it and looked at some other perspectives before actually making an opinion about something. So I just wanted to put that out there. Anyway, so for example, back in May, Reese posted a tweet that said, and I'm quoting, "And that's on getting to win in a packed area, not just because of one player on our charter flight." She ended up deleting the post, and people came at her accusing her of not being grateful for Clark and for talking bad about Clark on social media. But the thing is, Reese never mentioned Clark's name in the post, so we don't know for sure if Clark was who she was referring to. For all we know, she could have been referring to someone not in the league. I don't know. But my point is that the media takes one little thing and escalates it, and Reese has been a victim of this multiple times because of the previous Clark v. Reese rivalry in their collegiate career. And that post also, like, it wasn't even like that, like, I don't know, it didn't really seem like she was attacking Clark in any way. Just people kind of escalated and twisted it around is my thing. I do want to say that I do think the basic rivalry of the two is a fine thing in the sense that people compare their stats and how their teams are doing in the season. But when people compare their character and nitpick every little thing, the narrative the media pushes, it's not okay, and it's really not acceptable. The WNBA is supposed to be an accepting league that pushes for women's equality in sports, and the narrative the media has been pushing for only hurts the league and the women in the sport and in the league. So that concludes our segment on the updates for the Clark v. Reese rivalry. And now we're going to move into our next segment where we talk about updates of the U.S. Swimming Olympic trials. Before we get into that, we're going to be taking a very short break. So I will see you guys very soon.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows where 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
Welcome back, everybody, to the GSMC Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We just got done talking about the narrative the media is pushing and the Clark v. Reese rivalry, and now we're going to talk about the U.S. Swimming Olympic Trials, Day 3 and Day 4. So the trials are taking place from the 15th to the 23rd, and in Monday's episode, I gave some updates from the first and second day. So today, I'm going to recap the third and fourth day and give possibly a little preview for the upcoming days. Before we get into that, I did want to remind you guys to like and subscribe to the show and to become a part of our show to tip and donate using the link gsmcpodcast.net. This link also puts your questions at the top of the list, so use this link for the interactive aspect of the live stream on our channel. Once again, the link is gsmcpodcast.net. Also, make sure you guys stay till the end of the show to hear about the student athletes that are competing in the track and field Olympic trials. Now that we got that out of the way, it is time to begin. Obviously, let's start with Day 3. The night started with the final of the women's 400 IM, where Tokyo silver medalist Emma Wyatt and two-time world championship silver medalist Katie Grimes were the top two favorites in this event. The current world record in this event is from Canadian Sarah McIntosh in the 2024 Canadian trials at 4 minutes 24.38 seconds. So Katie Grimes finished in first, obviously, at 4 minutes and 35 seconds. Emma Wyatt was in second at 4 minutes 35.56 seconds. And Lila Bogner was in third at 4 minutes of 37.86 seconds. After leading by more than 3 seconds at the 200, all of a sudden Grimes found herself in third place at the 300-meter turn, but she didn't panic. Grimes produced the top freestyle split in the field to pull ahead of Bogner and then locked in a stroke-for-stroke battle with Wyatt. Although the time is well shy of her lifetime and season best times, the performance does secure Grimes a berth on the pool swimming roster for Paris after she qualified in open water last year. For Bogner, she dropped more than 3 seconds from her personal best, and this time had her move into 9th all-time in the girls 17 to 18 age group. The 29-year-old veteran Leah Smith, who dealt with a torn labrum earlier this year, moved up from 7th at the 250 to claim 4th in 4 minutes 39.87 seconds, while a 14-year-old Audrey Devereaux rode the momentum from the crowd to sit in second early before fading to 8th in 4 minutes 46.89 seconds. Still a very impressive performance after her big drop that morning, and she's 14 years old, which is absolutely insane. Day 3 also held the women's 100-meter backstroke semifinals. The world record is from Kaylee McCowan from Australia at 57.33 seconds back in 2023. The qualifying time this year for the Olympics is 59.99 seconds. But I was talking to my sister, who is a huge swimming enthusiast, whatever you want to call it, and she explained to me that even though the U.S. has these Olympic qualifying times, they don't actually mean much because most of the swimmers actually beat them. Like, it's not, as you can see, every single swimmer in these 6 here beat the qualifying time. So it actually doesn't really matter for the U.S. It's more about the top 2 people. And even the 3rd and 4th place, because if the top 2 people don't want to do that event or whatever, we'll get more into that. It gets very confusing, but there's 26 people per gender on each team for the U.S. So, yeah, it can be very confusing, to be honest. Okay, so after Catherine Burkhoff made history by becoming just the 5th woman in history to make 58 seconds in the first semi of the 100 back, Regan Smith one-upped her in the next heat. Smith, who has had an air of invincibility so far this week, showing incredible form, blasted her way to a time of 57.47 in the second semi, lowering the American record of 57.51 she set last month. The swim for Smith also tied for the 4th fastest performance ever. Prior to that, Burkhoff joined the sub-58 club in 57.83 seconds, moving her up to number 4 all-time as she overtakes Australia's Molly O'Callaghan, who just last week went under 58 for the first time of the Australian trials in 57.88 seconds. The other people that qualified were Josephine Fuller, Kennedy Noble, Ryan White, Claire Curzan, Leah Shackley, and Phoebe Bacon. The other event on day 3 was the women's 100-meter breaststroke final. And let me just say this was a good one to watch. The world record is from Lily King back in 2017 at 1 minute 4.13 seconds. King, who has been getting a massive pop from the Indianapolis faithful all week, jumped out to an early lead in the final and never loosened her grip, extending her advantage down the back half to touch first by the relatively wide margin on a time of 1 minute 5.43 seconds. It was an incredible battle for second, with Caitlin Dobler hot on King's wheels over the first 50 meters before Emma Weber charged through into the runner-up position. Reigning Olympic champion Lydia Jacobi started to make a big move with 25 meters to go, but it was too late as Weber held firm to touch second in 1 minute and 6.10 seconds, another best time to likely book her ticket to her first Olympics. Jacobi, who has been as fast as 1 minute 5.74 seconds this season, had looked maybe just a touch off in each of the 3 rounds thus far, and though it was a gallant effort coming home in the final, she won't have the opportunity to defend her Olympic gold medal in Paris after placing 3rd in 1 minute 6.37 seconds. Dobler, Kelly Grindley, and Alex Walsh all added a bit of time from the semis to place 4th, 5th, and 6th respectively. Lastly, day 3 held the 200 free final. The world record is from Ariane Titmus from Australia at 1 minute 52.23 seconds from this year. Katie Ledecky obviously got first in this event. She finished with a time of 1 minute 55.22 seconds. In second was Claire Weinstein at 1 minute 56.18 seconds. And in third was Paige Mannon at 1 minute 56.36 seconds. Ledecky has so many events to swim for the trials, so you have to think about the other events she is going to swim in and how she will do in those events. She will probably be in the top 2 in other events, so it will be interesting to see if Madden will be able to go to the Olympics and the 200-meter freestyle, because most likely Ledecky would rather swim in other events that she is more successful in for the actual Olympic Games, if that makes sense. Next, let's talk about day 4. The women's 100-meter backstroke took place, and there is some big news here. Regan Smith is once again the world record holder. 5 years after she initially broke the mark in 2019, Smith reclaimed the record from Australians Kaylee McCowan with a flawless performance in front of the packed Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, storming to a time of 57.13 seconds to knock 2/10 off McCowan's all-time mark of 57.33 seconds from last October. Coming into the meet, having broken the American record last month in 57.51 seconds, Smith lowered her national mark down to 57.47 seconds in the semis before dropping the stunner tonight. And second was Catherine Burkhoff at 57.91 seconds, and then third was Kennedy Noble at 58.81 seconds, which is a pretty big gap right there. Also that day was the 100-meter freestyle semifinals. Sarah Sjöström from Sweden holds the world record from 2017 at 51.71 seconds. But in the trials, Tori Huss established herself as the woman to beat in tomorrow's 100 free final, blasting the first sub-53 swimmer of the meet with a new lifetime best clocking of 52.90 seconds. Huss, who already set a personal best and booked an Olympic ticket earlier in the meet in the 100 fly, chopped 2 100s off her previous best of 52.92 seconds set at the 2022 World Championships. She had the fastest opening 50 in the field at 25.20 seconds and won her semifinal comfortably, with Abby Wetzel more than 3/4 of a second back for the runner-up spot in 53.66 seconds. The second steep was star-studded, but despite being flanked by the 2 Virginia megastars Kate Douglas and Gretchen Walsh, Simone Manuel reminded everyone why she was the 2016 Olympic champion. Manuel overtook Walsh on the second 50 to claim the heat in 53.16 seconds, qualifying second into tomorrow's final. Douglas also moved past Walsh as both improved their times from the prelims, clocking 53.21 seconds and 53.33 seconds to advance 4th and 5th respectively. I'm now just realizing when I say tomorrow, I actually mean today. I wrote all of these things down yesterday, so I meant tomorrow, meaning today. So I apologize for that. Anyway, so the last event during day 4 was the 1500 meter freestyle. Katie Ledecky holds the world record, and not surprisingly, she won the event. She clocked a time of 15 minutes 39.73 seconds. This time was his 23rd fastest swim in history and 22nd fastest of Ledecky's career. And then second was Katie Grimes at 60 minutes 10.13 seconds. Each second is about a body length, give or take. So in this case, Katie Ledecky was like 20 body lengths ahead of everyone. Regan Stage was in third at 16 minutes 15.59 seconds. That concludes our segment on the Olympic swimming trial so far, and now we're going to talk about softball in our next segment. Before we get into our next segment, we are going to take a very short break, so I will see you guys all very soon.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the GSMC Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We just got done talking about the U.S. Swimming and Olympic trials, day 3 and day 4, and now we're going to talk about softball. So we're going to talk about how softball is making their Olympic return, and then some AUX Series highlight. So softball will be back in the Olympics with Los Angeles in 2028. The sport joined baseball, lacrosse, squash, cricket, and flag football as additions for the LA Games in a vote conducted by the IOC back in October. Softball's originating tenure in the Olympics from 1996 to 2008 helped boost the popularity of the sport and open the doors to stardom for players like Jenny Fitch and Kat Osterman, and helped establish an electric rivalry between the U.S. and Japan. The guarantee of Olympic attention can be big for any sport, even if the games in question are still half a decade away. But it feels especially crucial at this moment for softball. Wait, half a decade? Wait. No. Almost half a decade, technically. Yeah. I'm like trying to do math in my head. I'm like, wait, that actually isn't right. Almost half a decade. Because half a decade is 6 years, and it's in Yeah, almost half a decade. This is 4 years, okay? That's almost half a decade. Okay, anyway. There's been dramatic growth in recent years in the college game. The last few Women's College World Series have set viewership records and outdrawn the men and the College World Series. But the landscape can still feel precarious for players who stick with the sport after college. National Pro Fast Pitch shuttered during the pandemic. There are now 2 leagues in this place, Athletes Unlimited and Women's Professional Fast Pitch. Yet, pro softball is still a part-time, supplementary gig for most players rather than a full-time focus, and there's little available in the way of long-term commitment. It can be difficult to navigate even for star players, and forget about having freedom or flexibility to plan ahead. For softball to be in the Olympics then is more than just a chance for the sport to occupy a grand stage. It's a way for the game to anchor itself in the future. Bringing softball back to the Olympics in 2028 is a huge win for women in sports, and honestly, it's about time. I have been waiting for this moment for so long. When the International Olympic Committee decided to include softball in the Los Angeles Games alongside other sports like baseball and lacrosse, they didn't just add a sport, they reignited a passion and a spotlight that had dimmed too soon, and lacrosse did deserve to get a lot of attention as well. I feel like baseball does pretty good in this sense, but I would say that softball and lacrosse are in more need than baseball would be in attention. So, remember the days of Jenny Finch and Kat Osman? Those were the times when softball in the Olympics really shone, turning players into stars and sparking an intense rivalry between the US and Japan. This wasn't just good for the sport, it was great for the fans and the athletes who got to see their heroes on the world's biggest sports stage. But then softball did get cut after the 2008 games, which was a real setback. It lost its global platform and all the perks that come with being an Olympic sport, like better funding and broader exposure. Yet despite this, softball at the college level has been killing it, setting viewership records and even outdrawing the men's games, like I've said. It shows there's a massive appetite for women's softball, and this is a really good thing that is coming to the Olympic Games because I do think it will be watched heavily. The pro scene, though, is a different story. I've talked about this multiple times. It does disappoint me. It's a bit rocky. The pandemic saw the end of the National Pro Fast Pitch, and what we got in its place, Athletes Unlimited and Women's Professional Fast Pitch, is cool, but still a bit shaky. It hasn't been doing great in viewership. For a lot of the players, playing pro softball isn't a full-time gig, but more of a side hustle, which is okay, but it isn't ideal if we want the sport to grow. So that's why getting softball back in the Olympics for 2028 is such a big deal. It's not just about having another event to watch, it's about giving softball a stable home where it can thrive. Olympic exposure means the world is watching, which can lead to more sponsorships, better training opportunities, and overall more support for the women who dedicate their lives to the game. This move is super important for younger generations too. It gives little girls heroes to look up to and shows them that softball can be a serious career path. The stories of Olympic athletes aren't just exciting sports drama, they're powerful tales of determination and success that can inspire everyone. So, looking ahead to the LA 2028 Games, the inclusion of softball is a big step forward in the push for gender equality in sports. It's a reminder of how far we've come and how much work there is still to do. It's about making sure female athletes get the recognition they deserve and helping the sport they love get the spotlight it needs to grow. The next thing I want to talk about with softball is the AUX Series 1 of the season. The second series started on June 16th, and we talked about the rosters for the 3 teams in yesterday's show. So before we talk about the second series game, I wanted to recap the first series, and go ahead and check out my video from yesterday about the team rosters if you're interested in hearing about that. Okay, so we have some pictures over here. Oh, sorry, it was not working. Oh, there we go. Okay, so the inaugural season of the 2024 AUX season was a showcase of softball brilliance, with the 3 competing teams delivering walk-off homers, extra inning thrillers, and plays worthy of making it onto SportsCenter's top 10 list. Each team ended the series with a balanced record of 2-2. The gold and orange teams were neck and neck, each tallying 270 win points, while the blue team trailed with 180 points due to fewer inning wins. Jocelyn Alone, obviously, not surprisingly, shone brightly, emerging as the top mover of Series 1, seizing the number 1 spot on the leaderboard in her AU Pro Softball debut. Going 5 for 11 at the plate, she not only showcased her power with 2 home runs and a double, but also walked her way to an impressive slugging percentage of 1.091. Taylor Edwards matched Ilo in MVP points, with both athletes receiving accolades for MVP 1 and MVP 2, accumulating 100 points in this category from the series. A seasoned player since the league's inception, Edwards now steps up as a captain for the first time, bringing her experience and timely hitting to the forefront. Rookie Mackenzie Clark made an immediate impact, quickly climbing to the 4th spot on the leaderboard. With a battling line of 4 for 9, including a rare triple and a grand slam, Clark made a definitive statement about a prowess and potential. She rounds out the new captain trio as she takes the helm of the blue team. Bubba Nichols, though unable to serve as captain due to her academic commitments at UCLA, where she graduated with a master's degree, remains a formidable presence. She leads the league in home runs and stat points, her performance highlighted by 3 homers, showing she's on track to challenge Maya Davidson's 2023 AUX home run record. Sydney McKinney is setting the standard for batting excellence this season with an incredible .8 batting average and an on-base percentage of .769. Her performance at the plate has been flawless with no strikeouts to date, which is so insane. On the mound, keep an eye on Taylor McKillen with a 1.75 ERA and a league-leading 12 strikeouts over 12 innings. Her left-handed pitches add a strategic edge given the rarity of left-handed pitchers this season. The level of competition in Series 1 has set a high bar for the rest of the AUX season, promising more exciting softball action ahead. Before we move on to the next segment, we are going to talk about the first game of the second series, which was on Sunday, like I said earlier. Okay, so Team Clark mounted a dramatic 7th inning comeback to clinch a 10-4 victory over Team Edwards. This exhilarating win set Team Clark on a positive trajectory with a 1-0 record for the season's second series, while Team Edwards faced an early setback. The game took a decisive turn in the 7th inning thanks to critical home runs from Billy Andrews and Sarah Willis. Andrews, playing as a middle infielder, delivered a game-tying 2-run homer, her second this season, earning her MVP1 honors and adding 180 points to her leaderboard tally. Meanwhile, outfielder Sarah Willis blasted a 3-run homer in the final frame, securing MVP3 honors and contributing significantly to the team's late-game surge with 140 leaderboard points. Despite their loss, Team Edwards saw commendable performances from pitcher Mariah Menzon, who started the game strongly, limiting Team Clark to just 2 runs over 6 innings and ended the game with MVP2 honors. However, relief pitcher Alex DeRocco struggled in the final inning, allowing 8 runs, which tipped the game in Team Clark's favor. Team Edwards also showcased power at the plate with Delaney Wiss and catcher Haley Lee, each hitting home runs. Outfielder Morgan Circle went 2 for 3, scoring a run and contributing to the team's early lead. Alicia Casio, pitching in relief for Team Clark, earned the win, allowing 2 runs over these 3 innings. Rookie Peyton Godshall made a notable appearance, retiring Team Edwards in order in the final inning to seal the victory. The pivotal moment came as Team Clark trailed 4-2 entering the 7th inning. An explosive defensive outburst ensued with the team sending 11 batters to the plate, racking up 8 runs on 5 hits, including the crucial homers from Andrews and Willis. This momentum not only turned the tide of the game, but also made a significant impact on the leaderboard standings. Mackenzie Clark, now leading the leaderboard with 570 points, demonstrated her leadership in her debut as captain. Mariah Menzon and Billy Andrews also saw significant jumps in the rankings, with Andrews making the most considerable leap, climbing 21 spots to 13th place. The game was not without its strategic maneuvers, with both teams initiating successful captain's challenges in the 4th inning. The season's tally for captain's challenges now stands at 3 successful out of 7 attempts. This game also tied the record for most runs in a single inning in Athletes Unlimited Pro Softball AUX history, matching Team Garcia's 8-run hitting from a game last season. Furthermore, pitcher Mariah Menzon's effort of throwing a career-high 111 pitches and Alicia Casio's 16th career win, tying for the most in AU history, were notable milestones. There were 3 MVPs and 1 defensive MVP. The first MVP is Billy Andrews from Team Clark. Second MVP was Mariah Menzon from Team Edwards. The third MVP was Sarah Willis from Team Clark. And the defensive MVP was Jessie Warren from Team Clark. The thrilling game was not only showcasing individual brilliance, but also the stage for what promises to be an intensely competitive AUX season. So now we're going to move on to our next segment where we talk about women's volleyball national teams that qualify for the Paris Olympics. Before we get started, we are going to be taking a very short break, so I will see you guys very soon.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC. to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
Welcome back, everybody, to the GSMC Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We just got done talking about softball returning to the Olympic, as well as some game recaps in the AUX League. Now we're going to talk about women's volleyball and the Olympics. The FIVB and Volleyball World officially announced the 12 women's volleyball national teams qualified for the Paris 2024 Olympic Games, and we're going to talk about each team. Okay, so let's begin. Let me get the pictures up here. Okay, so Brazil qualified for the Olympic Games as the runner-ups of the FIVB Road to Paris Volleyball Qualifier, Pool B, played in Tokyo, Japan last summer. They have not missed a single Olympics since their debut in 1980 and have so far collected 2 Olympic titles at Beijing 2008 and London 2012, a silver medal at Tokyo 2020 and bronze medal at Atlanta 1996 and Sydney 2000. I have a feeling that Brazil might be able to take a win, maybe this Olympics, or maybe a silver medal. I think that they definitely are going to be strong competition there. Okay. And then 3-time Olympic champions China qualified for Paris 2024 as the highest placed Asian team in the FIVB World Rankings, not yet qualified at the end of the Olympic qualification process. They will play at the Games for the 11th consecutive time since their rookie appearance at Los Angeles 1984, when they also triumphed on top of the Olympic podium for the first time. China's next 2 Olympic goals were earned at Athens 2004 and Rio 2016. They also have an Atlanta 1996 silver and bronze medal from Seoul 1988 and Beijing 2008 in their showcase. The Dominican Republic booked their spot at the Olympic Games via the FIVB Road to Paris Volleyball Qualifier Tournament in China last September, where they topped the final Pool A standings. It will be their 4th time they compete at the Games after Athens 2004, London 2012, and Tokyo 2020. Reaching the quarterfinals in 2012 and 2020 were their best results so far. Fans qualify for the Olympics automatically as the host nation of the Games. They have never played at the Olympics before and are about to make their debut in front of their home fans in Paris. That seems like very nerve-wracking, but you know what it is. Italy claimed one of their last 3 available vacancies at Paris 2024 as the highest placed team in the FIVB World Ranking, not yet qualified upon the end of the Volleyball Nations League 2024 preliminary phase. This way, they will compete at the Games for their 7th time in a row since their debut in 2000. Italy has reached the quarterfinals at 4 of their previous 6 appearances. Japan took one of the last 3 available tickets to Paris 2024 as the 2nd highest placed team in the FIVB World Rankings, not yet qualified upon the end of the VNL League preliminary phase. Japan will play at the Olympics for their 14th time, having skipped only 2 editions of the Olympic volleyball tournament. They triumphed at the Sports Olympic inauguration at Tokyo 1964 and then again at Montreal 1976, earning 2 silvers in between at Mexico 1968 and in 1972, and 2 bronzes at Los Angeles 1984 and London 2012. Kenya qualified for Paris 2024 as the highest placed African team in the FIVB World Ranking at the end of the Olympic qualification process. They will appear at the Olympic Games for the 4th time after Sydney 2000, Athens 2004, and Tokyo 2020. At Paris 2024, Kenya will be aiming at their first ever win in an Olympic Games match. The Netherlands literally booked the last available spot at Paris 2024. At the end of the Volleyball Nations League 2024 preliminary phase, they managed to position themselves just above the cut-off line in the FIVB World Rankings as the 3rd highest paced team not yet qualified. It will be their 4th Olympic participation after Barcelona 1992, Atlanta 1996, and Rio 2016. At their latest appearance, the Dutch achieved their best results so far, a 4th place finish. Poland finished runners-up in the Pool C standings at the FIVB Road to Paris volleyball qualifier tournament they hosted last summer and booked their ticket to the Olympics. It will be their fourth time playing at the Games. They were among the first Olympic medalists in women's volleyball, claiming the bronze medals in Tokyo 1964 and Mexico 1968. After that, they have competed at the Olympics only once at Beijing 2008. Reigning world champions Serbia qualified for Paris in September as the Pool A runners-up at the FIVB Road to Paris volleyball qualifier tournament in China. They have not missed an Olympics since their first appearance at Beijing 2008 and picked up a Rio 2016 silver and a Tokyo 2020 bronze in their 4 participations so far. Reigning VNL champions Turkey won all 7 of their matches in Tokyo's Pool B of September's FIVB Road to Paris volleyball qualifiers and stamped their ticket to the Olympic Games for the second consecutive and third overall time. They achieved their best results so far, a 5th place at Tokyo 2020. Reigning Olympic champions USA finished on top of September's FIVB Road to Paris volleyball qualifier Pool C in Poland to earn their spot at the Games in the French capital. They will compete at the Olympics for the 11th consecutive and 13th overall time. Before their inaugural title 3 years ago, the United States had collected 3 silver medals at Los Angeles 1984, Beijing 2008, and London 2012, and 2 bronze medals at Barcelona 1992 and Rio at 2016. Wow, why? How did I was losing my mind there. Rio in 2016, not that long ago. So the Olympic volleyball tournament at Paris will take place from July 27th to August 11th at the South Paris Arena in the French capital. So now let's talk about who is on the USA team. The roster includes 8 players who won the gold medal at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics and 4 players who make their Olympic debuts in Paris. Outside hitter Jordan Larson will compete in her 4th Olympic Games. She earned a silver medal from 2012 and a bronze medal from 2016 to go with her gold medal from Tokyo. Outside hitter Kelsey Robinson-Cook will make her 3rd Olympic run. She competed in 2016 and won a bronze medal, and in 2020 won a gold medal. Setter Jordan Poulter, libero Justine Wong-Garantes, opposites Annie Drews and Jordan Thompson, and middle blockers Chiaka Agbogu and Haley Washington will all compete in their 2nd Olympics after winning the gold medal in Tokyo. Setter Lauren Carlini, outside hitters Catherine Plummer and Avery Skinner, and middle blocker Dana Retke will make their Olympic debuts in Paris. The 5 Olympic alternates for the U.S. women are 2020 Olympic gold medalist Mika Hancock at setter, libero Morgan Hens, outside hitter Ali Franti, outside hitter and opposite Kalia Lanier, and middle blocker Anna Stevenson Hall. The team will wait to name its official alternate, who will travel to Paris and can be subbed in for an injured player during the tournament. And I think picking the alternate, the official alternate, is probably one of the hardest positions as coach, because consider the fact that you have 5 great alternates. You need someone who's going to be able to play multiple positions, who has the right height, who has the right strength, speed, everything. That just seems like such a hard process to do. Anyway, the coach will be Coach Corrali, obviously, and he said, "Our 5 alternates are a special group with difficult yet critical tasks. They must bring a good version of themselves every day, do everything they can to make the team better, and stay ready in case of injury or illness. Nobody is more capable of exceeding in these tasks than these 5 women." The U.S. women went into the 2024 season ranked number 2 in the world. The team has competed in 12 Olympic Games, including the last 10. The U.S. women qualified for the 1980 Olympic Games in Moscow, which the U.S. then boycotted. The U.S. women have won 1 Olympic gold medal in 2020, 3 silver medals, 1984, 2008, and 2012, and 2 bronze medals, 1992 and 2016. So I think they have a good chance of getting a gold medal this year. They seem to be on a good run, but I do think that one of their biggest competitions is going to be Serbia, Brazil. Yeah, Serbia and Brazil, I think, are going to be their biggest competition. Also Turkey, because they are looking so strong this year, especially, and in the VNL League, they were looking really, really strong. So we're now going to move on to our next segment, where we talk about the student athletes and the track and field Olympic trials. Before we get into that, we're going to be taking a very short break. So I will see you guys all very soon. Welcome back, everybody, to the GSMC Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We just got done talking about the volleyball teams in the Olympics, and now we're going to talk about student athletes in the U.S. Track and Field Olympic Trials. In yesterday's show, we talked about Mackenzie Long, Parker Balby, Jason Sears, and Isabel Whittaker, and we're just basically going to continue our conversation and talk about some more student athletes that will compete in the trials. The trials are taking place June 21st to the 30th in Eugene, Oregon, and I am literally counting down the days. Also, tomorrow I will be going over some more student athletes that are competing in the Olympic trials for track and field. So if you are enjoying this segment, I recommend that you stay tuned for tomorrow's episode as well. So just for some background information, in most events, the top 3 finishers make the Olympic team. If athletes finish in the top 3 but have not recorded the minimum Olympic qualifying time or mark, they can still make the team based on their world ranking. It gets very confusing. All of how people qualify for the Olympics is so confusing to me sometimes, but just know that making the top 3 places is really strong, and you want that. Of course, it is super, super tough, though, considering the competition in all of these heats. So we're just going to dive right into it. So let's begin with Jada Mays from the University of Oregon. Okay, so she will be competing in the 100-meter dash. She is tied with Candace Hill at 11.01 seconds as a personal best, and she does not have one of the faster times in the event. I don't think Mays is going to make it to the Olympics this year just based on her times in this heat compared to the other competitors. You have to remember that in the 100-meter dash, she is going up against Sha'Carri Richardson and Tamari Davis, who have already been to the Olympics and are known for their success in this event particularly. And there are other student athletes in this event who have better personal best times than Mays, like Mackenzie Long and Jason Sears. Those do have more of a chance of making it to the Olympics than Mays, in my opinion. Mays will also be competing in the 200 meters, and the same thing pretty much goes for this event as well, except she also has the iconic Gabby Thomas to compete with. Mays' time in this event is 22.19 seconds, which is pretty much right in the middle of the heat. It's still impressive that she's going to the trials, don't get me wrong, but the 2028 Olympics might be a better shot for her considering the competition she has for this one and her personal best times compared to the other people competing in the heat. Okay, Zaya Holman from UT Austin. She's competing in the 400-meter dash, and her personal best stands at 50.99 seconds. She is kind of the dark horse in this race, considering her time is one of the slower times. Now, I hate using the word slower because none of these times are slow, but she has one of the longest times. I think you guys get the point. But anyway, I think Holman may surprise people in the trials. She has to compete with world-renowned Gabby Thomas and Kanara Hayes. But in this event, what's different is that there are so many student athletes competing, and the student athletes actually have better personal best times than these 2 iconic sprinters, like Rosaline Effiong and Elia Butler have better times than those 2. So I don't think that Holman is going to make it to the Olympics this year, but I think she definitely could surprise people and come out in the top 5. So that brings me to my next 2 people to talk about, Rosaline Effiong from the University of Arkansas and Elia Butler from the University of Georgia. Starting with Effiong, her personal best time in the 400-meter dash is 49.72 seconds. In the NCAA D1 Track and Field Championship, she finished 4th in this event, but she is 3rd in personal best times for the Olympic trials heat in this event. I think she has a really good shot of making it to the Olympics and possibly finishing in 2nd. Elia Butler finished 14th in the 400 meters in the NCAA D1 Track and Field Championships. Her personal best time is 49.79 seconds, and that is the 4th fastest time in the Olympic trials heat. I don't have as much confidence as I do in Effiong that she'll make it to the Olympics, but I definitely think she's going to do great and is definitely going to show that potential she has for the Olympics. Now let's talk about Michaela Rose from LSU. She's competing in the women's 800 meters. Her personal best is 1 minute 58.37 seconds. She's one of the fastest times, but she has a lot of competition in this event. She finished in 4th in the NCAA D1 Track and Field Championships with a time of 2 minutes 1.03 seconds. She's looking to be on a good path right now heading to the trials, but you have to consider the competition in this event. Athy Mu will be competing in the trials. It has been confirmed, but maybe her recent injury will let in some other athletes to take that Olympic spot. I don't know. I think that Rose could make it to the Olympics. Mu big chance she will be in the Olympics. But Rose has the potential, and I would love to see her there, but I don't think that this is her year for it, considering the competition in this event. A little side note, for the longer distance events like the 1500 and 5000 meters, there's literally like no student athletes other than Parker Valby, which I find really interesting. Anyway, Grace Stark from the University of Florida will be competing in the 100-meter hurdles. Her personal best time is 12.47 seconds, and she got this time in the NCAA D1 Track and Field Championships, where she finished first. I think she's got a solid chance of making it to the Olympics, considering she is on this right path right now, getting a personal best and then winning the event in her latest competition. Her personal best is one of the fastest times in the heat at the trials, and I think she's got a really good shot at finishing second. I think Kendra Harrison or Nia Ali may finish first, but I got a lot of confidence in Stark. Jasmine Jones from the University of Southern California will be competing in the 400-meter hurdles. She just got her personal best also at the D1 Championships, clocking a time of 53.15 seconds. Her personal best is the third fastest time in the trials heat. Obviously, Sydney McLaughlin-Roan and Shamir Little will be her biggest competition. I think Jones actually has the potential to beat Little, but Little's personal best is kind of a lot faster than Jones at 52.80 seconds. It all depends on the little factors like wind, weather, and the track of the trials. Jones has the potential to beat Little, but I would not be shocked to see McLaughlin and Little take first and second respectively. And I feel like that's a very expected duo at the Olympic Games for this event. But also, if she gets third, that's great too, because I mean, she also can qualify for the Olympics in third place. The field events are where things get a little bit more interesting. Rachel Glenn from the University of Arkansas has the best distance in the women's high jump compared to the other people competing in the trials. She actually did not do so well at the D1 Championships, tying at 13th. Her personal best is 2 meters, but to be honest, I don't know if she can reach that height at the trials considering her recent competition. She has a good chance to make the Olympics, and she obviously has that potential, but there's a lot of close competition in this event. Like, she needs to watch out for Vashti Cunningham and Jenna Rogers, who is also a student athlete at the University of Nebraska. There's a lot of student athletes in this event. Jenna Rogers will definitely be a threat because she finished in 5th at the D1 Championships. Her personal best is 1.90 meters, but it will be interesting to see if she can beat Glenn at the trials. I think Rogers has the potential and ability to make it to the Olympics as well. This event is definitely more tough to make predictions about, though, because so many people are really close and there's a lot of fierce competitions. Sophia Beckman from the University of Illinois will be competing in the women's long jump. Her biggest competition is going to be Tara Davis-Woodhull and Kanisha Burks, and given that those two are competing, I have a feeling that Beckman will not be able to make it to the Olympics unless she can get third place. But still, I wanted to spotlight her because her stats are very close to the two of them. Her personal best is 6.86 meters, and Davis-Woodhull's personal best is 7.16 meters, and Burke's personal best is 6.98 meters. Okay, compared to Burks, Beckham is pretty fierce competition for her, but Davis-Woodhull is pretty much out of this world with her personal best, and I don't think anyone can beat her right now, to be honest. But still, I think that Beckman has the potential to maybe get in third place and maybe second place. I think she has potential to be at the Olympic. I think that we might see her at the Olympic Games, but it definitely will be very close. So the field events, it's so hard to make predictions because it's like so close, and like personal bests don't really show enough because there's so many little factors that go into the field events. Same with the sprinting, long distance, all of those events as well. But the field events, I feel like are so hard to make predictions about. I don't know, that might just be me. I used to run track. I did not do any of the field events. Maybe I just can't make good predictions about the field events because I did not do any of the field events. I don't know, but yeah, I was one of the longer distance runners. It's actually mid-distance. I ran the 1500 and the 800, which is mid-distance. But some people will be called it long distance back then. Actually, it wasn't that long ago, but we didn't have any longer events, so that was the long distance events. Anyway, moving on, Jada Ross from the University of Oregon will be competing in the shot put, and I'm a huge fan of hers. Her personal best is second in the heat at 20.01 meters, and the first personal best is 20.03 meters, and that's Chase Jackson. They're so dang close, like so dang close. I think Ross will be able to make it to the Olympics for sure. Adelaide Akila will definitely be the biggest competition for her, but here's the thing. Ross set the collegiate record in the shot put, so really I think that she's going to have no problem making it to the Olympics. She's a force to be reckoned with. Obviously, Ross crushed at the D1 Championship, where she got a distance of 19.57 meters, placing first. And this was a full meter ahead of the second place competitor. She's an absolutely insane and a beast, and I definitely will see her at the Olympics. Lastly, let's talk about Veronica Fraley in the discus. She's from Vanderbilt University, and her personal best is 67.17 meters, which is the third best in the trials heat. She placed first in the D1 championship, so she has been on a roll recently. I have a lot of confidence in her. I think she has a great shot at making it to the Olympics. It all really comes down to how the top two people will do, because their personal bests are a lot better than Fraley's, unfortunately. So the people in like 4th and 5th are big competition for her specifically. So Valerie Allman is the top person in the event with a personal best of 70.47 meters, and Laluga Tasaga Collins is second at 69.46 meters. Allman won the gold at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics, so it's going to be a rough competition. Allman will definitely be at the Olympics for sure, but I still think that Fraley has a good chance of making it. We'll see. It'll be tough, that's for sure. So that concludes our show for today. Thank you guys for tuning into the GSMC Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us, so please remember to subscribe to the show and leave a positive review. It really does make a difference. We also invite you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram for more content and updates. And we do give some 60-second segments or reviews, updates on sports in our YouTube shorts on GSMC Podcasts and GSMC Sports Network YouTube channels. So go ahead and check that out. And if you're interested in seeing these shorts from the GSMC Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, check out the GSMC Sports Network YouTube channel, because that is where I put my shorts. Okay, thank you guys once again, and have a wonderful day.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet. Damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet. Damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to Let's go.